What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, we got to talk about N7 Day for Mass Effect. Let me get it out of the way early. I think they did a tremendous job, and I do think the internet is slightly divided. I see a lot of responses to, like, Michael on Twitter and just Mass Effect and EA in general. There is a split. Some people are saying, like, you lead us on this wild goose chase for such a small thing, or, is next year going to be a look at the ship, like a 5-second thing of the ship? I get there's a little frustration. I get that we're still, a few years out from Mass Effect, and, this is kind of like, okay, well, this is all you're going to give. I understand that, but I'm here to tell you, at least in the beginning of this video, I'm really happy with what they did. I enjoy these kind of wild goose chases, and I understand it may not seem like a lot, or maybe it just flat out isn't a lot. But, I mean, the alternative is just not really recognizing the date, not caring about, like, the legacy of N7 Day, and doing nothing. You could easily have done nothing the last couple of years and in the future, you could do things maybe like a year or two out from when the game comes out. Because Dragon Age isn't out yet, and we know Mass Effect is, further past that, I don't think Mass Effect comes out for at least another 2, if not 3 years. So I could see next N7 Day being a whole lot bigger, but I will say this. I think this N7 Day was bigger than last one, and I thought last one was actually kind of cool too, the transmission that was playing out, and this one was an entire little, like, treasure hunt of using code words and doing all these different things. Morse code to begin with, I believe, right? A lot of stuff you had to do to follow the trail, and ultimately we got like a 30 or so second tease. And the tease, I feel like it's somewhat, like, massive. Honestly, I think it all kind of depends on who you think that is. And we're going to talk about that in this video. One thing I want to talk about, though, beyond just the trailer, which we'll get to in a second, is the passwords that were used, throughout the entire day. And one of them stands out to me because it's the number 5 in Greek, right? And that's epsilon. So I actually remember epsilon from I was going to be a math teacher in school, and I was just good at math, growing up. I remember epsilon in, like, the higher math, classes using that figure. So it has multiple meanings, but one of them is the number 5, right? And for Mass Effect, I've been pushing, like, I've wanted 5 to be the name. I understand, then you'd have to, I guess, canonically make Mass Effect Andromeda Mass Effect 4. If you do Mass Effect 5, then you're kind of putting a lot of pressure to, like, if you don't do Shepard, which that's a whole divide on the internet in the first place, right? But if you don't do Shepard, but it's called Mass Effect 5, well, like, will that actually work? I could see the want to not do that, to stop the numbered titles, or just do Mass Effect, I guess, again. It wouldn't be the first time companies or franchises have done that, or just Mass Effect and then a subtitle. But again, like, the tough thing is there were more than one of these password kind of code things, and a lot of them were rejected names for the original Mass Effect. So while epsilon, one meaning of it is 5, that doesn't mean it's going to be called Mass Effect 5. Now, it could be like a happy little coincidence, right, that it means 5 and it fits right now, but it originally was just the name for the first game. And again, we had other words as the day went on that also were rejected, or the original kind of Mass Effect name. So we had that. Then we get to the short little, snippet trailer thing. And the biggest thing is the ending, although it's important to note that there's multiple things going on throughout, like, as it's panning up, as the camera's going up from the feet to, the head. It's actually, in my opinion, it's different scenes, or at least it's more than one thing happening, right? So you see the end, and you can see, like, the environment outside, right? You can see a ship, but it's not necessarily just that. In the middle kind of portion of it, you can actually look out the windows and see flying vehicles. So that's one thing where it doesn't have to be all just stationary. This could be a person walking, and they're kind of cycling out the background of, like, what's going on. People claim to see a Krogan in the background around the 4 to 6 second mark. I want to say that I agree. I feel like I can see where people are coming from, but I can't, like, 1,000% see it with my own eyes, but that is something people are doing. And then we have the ending, right, where we see the entire, outfit, which is important, outfit as well as the person. So The tough thing is, this is kind of a mix of like Andromeda, which the entire thing I think is going to be, right? They're not going to forget Andromeda. So people that kind of want that, I just feel like that's not going to happen, right? Andromeda feel, but obviously you have the N7, logo or whatever, tagline on the thing. So here's where I'm at, and here's kind of where the internet's at. To me, that's either Liara, which I'll get to in a second because I know that's not necessarily like it would make sense fully. I understand. Liara or female shepherd. Okay, I really want to like stand tall on that. Liara, just because it kind of gives me her vibes, and I know that when they, because this video was kind of like put together as the day went on, right? And some of the first early things we saw were the boots or were the shoes. And people had, kind of cycled in some of Liara's looks in the games. And, like, it does give off Liara vibes, at least, like, maybe waist down very much. Even the helmet, I feel. Now, because of the N7 thing, and that's for humans, it's not for, Liara, like, could that be her? Well, if something changed from Mass Effect 3 to now, and we also don't know, like, the timeline, there were some codes of maybe this is taking place at the same time as Andromeda, but also maybe it's not. It's tough. It really depends on, as all of this stuff depends on, the year. Is Shepard alive? Is this too far into the future where Liara is older and Shepard's, dead? Even, obviously, he survives, right? But he would be dead just because of aging. What are they going to do? And it really all revolves around that. I think that's kind of what made people mad today. Some people, not everybody. Again, I didn't mind it. I think this is clever. I think this is fun because it's either this or nothing. And this is actually pretty, like, sophisticated, and people were doing, like, hardcore detective work that you wouldn't do on, like, the average Tuesday, right? This would be something different. So, like, I understand where people are coming from in that, you tease the boot, then you kind of go up, and then at the end, like, the entire thing is leading to the face reveal, and they got a mask on or a helmet on, right? So you can't see who it is. So I get that. I understand that, but I think so much of, at least for like the diehard fans that are really paying attention to everything, so much of this revolves around like where specifically are they, when are they, right? The time period, and then that would kind of limit your options, or if it's gonna be Liara, if it's gonna be Shepard, whatever it might be. It gives me Liara vibes, but as pointed out by Joe Mack, who tagged me on Twitter, this does also give off very much Shepard vibes, like it really does. And as he points out, this is the camera work has kind of been done before multiple times. So if they're keeping with tradition and doing what they've done in the past, it does look like a very Shepard pose. The way the music kind of builds, like it does feel like it could be, in this case, her, right? So I don't know. I really don't know. And I think that's what's cool about it, right? Like, we're not going to get the answer right now. It's cool to speculate. You get, I mean, like, it's in-game. It's in-game stuff. It's not, representative of the final product. They say that at the beginning, but you do get something. And, again, like, I get the frustration. I get that we have to wait, and I get these N7 days, to some maybe just, like, aren't worth it. But also, like, next year, like, I think Dragon Age probably maybe comes out, next fall, or maybe you think of, like, winter of, like, 2025, right? Very early the following year. So I think within the next year and a half, Dragon Age would have had its entire run of promotion and release and all that stuff. And then you go head deep into Mass Effect, which I don't imagine would be all that far behind. Like, I feel like Mass Effect could come out the following year or year and a half after. So, like I said in the beginning, like, I like this N7 day. I think next N7 day would be even bigger. And then the following one would maybe be within a year of the game coming out. So, like, if you aren't a fan of these cryptic days, I think they're almost over. If you are a fan, well, good news. It might continue plus a whole lot more, right? Because, like, we're getting closer. And then I guess the third and final thing, these questions that are annoying people, frustrating people, exciting some people, right? These questions, they're eventually going to get answered. You have to. You cannot go into the game without knowing this stuff, right? It's like the most baseline of questions. You have to know that going into the game. So we're going to get the answer. You just have to wait a little bit longer. And I get it. I understand. We've been waiting a very long time. And also, they still are in this kind of bounce back mode. Like, Andromeda, I will stand firm. I did not like Andromeda at all. I haven't changed my, like, the revisionist thing where, like, Andromeda is suddenly an amazing game. Nope. I still think it's pretty bad. And and we'll see if they can bounce back, and I think they will. I really do. I think they'll bounce back for the next Mass Effect game. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.